Good evening and welcome back to West Talk. Today is Tuesday, November the 28th, and we've got a great episode for you today. Last week I told you how excited I was for Christmas, but promised I'd keep the Christmas talk at bay. That has lasted a week because we're going full Christmas here now on today's episode. But and I have a few really cool things to tell you about before we get into our guests in studio. The first being, as per every show this season, is introducing you to a book by a Newfoundland author. And today we've got a bit of a stocking stuffer for you. It's the Newfoundland Word Search, or the Word Search of Newfoundland, Volume 2, featuring another 140 puzzles ranging from easy to challenging. Each word search will give you an opportunity to learn something unique about this place we call home. This edition includes many more amazing things this province has to offer, as well as intimate parts of our history, such as Beaumont Hamel, the musical Come From Away, sports teams, our favorite social media pages, and did you know there's a town in Trinity called Dildo? Nice one, boys. Okay, so stocking stuffer for your Newfoundland family member, living away, homesick Newfie kind of thing, and you can buy this at your chosen book retailer near you, published by Flanker Press. In the studio, we've got some people who are going to let us know about some charitable things happening in our region, to support Christmas and families at need. A few people who we couldn't get on the show today, but we want to give a mention to. First of all, the Corner Brook Fire Department, who suffered a kind of a big loss. As most of us know, they raise money and accept toys for children in need in our area, and they had a bit of a tragic fire situation in a storage locker where they were keeping all their toys and donations. So a lot of people are chipping in now to help fill that gap. As far as in Grossmorn, where right now they have the Grossmorn Christmas Toy Drive to support actually people in their community as well as the Corner Brook Fire Department. And so you can drop things off to 157 Main Street in Woody Point. And if you want more info on that, it's grossmorntransport@gmail.com. So you can reach out to them, drop them an email. And as well now, to talk about some things happening right here in our broadcast area, we're going to start with some guests from Deer Lake, and to talk about an event that has a little change up this year, going into the 11th year, and that's the Santa Stroll. So to tell us a little bit more about that, in studio we have Amanda Freake, Major Shannon from Deer Lake Salvation Army, and Christmas Carol Anstey. Thanks for coming down. And I just want to start with you, Amanda, because I know just before we got on the air here, you're filling me in about the history of the event and why this year is actually going to be kind of different. So for the viewers at home, how did this start, and kind of what's going to be a little different this year?
Okay, so this was, like you said, the 11th year. We started, Brian Snow picked up the idea about the Salvation Army partnering with the Running Room in other cities across Canada, and he knew that the need was really big in the Deer Lake area. So he asked me to come on board to create this event, and I also knew that Carol was a huge volunteer and a big heart in the community, so we partnered with him. We created the Santa Stroll, so we used to stroll about 1 kilometer and 5 kilometer, and now we've kind of partnered with a few things that the Salvation Army has at their church. So this year we're going to be partnering, we'll be in the parking lot, collecting toys and food, and they'll have their events inside this year. But the strolling is going to be happening in the parking lot with some music and things. So that's how it started. And we always did the kickoff with the toy drive, actually, with Rogers TV. So we didn't do that this year, so we're here with you to talk.
I didn't know that, so I'm really glad that we're talking. Yes. So in regards to sort of shifting it away from, a big walk-run event to this, to things happening at the parking lot, do you expect that makes it kind of a little bit more inclusive to the people who can actually come down and participate?
I think so. So I don't know if I'm the right one to speak to it, but this year the new item that we're having is the Christmas Caroler starting at 11:30. So now it does really get inclusive, that you can come to the parking lot, you can drop your windows, we can come to your car, collect your toy, collect your food item, get you a cup of coffee, a cup of hot chocolate, and you can listen to the Christmas Carolers outside. side.
Yeah.
So that kind of, it does make it a little bit more inclusive, 100%.
And so just for yourself, were you originally approached for any particular reason? I think, were you a town councillor back then when that started out?
I was. So I was a councillor at the time. It's still a town councillor, but I was a councillor at the time, and Scotiabank actually matched funds, so we had a community program as well. So I was working with Scotiabank, still working with the bank, and a town councillor. So Brian kind of hijacked me and said, I need your help.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're a great person to be in the mix there. You have all the right energy.
Thanks.
I can say, as somebody who shares an office close by with you. Major Shannon, can you speak a little bit to how these funds actually get rolled out in the community and what kind of impact gets made from this fundraiser every year?
Yeah, so we're always really grateful for the support of these ladies and of our community. Because, as we all know, especially since COVID, times are tough. People are struggling with just being able to get toys for their kids or to put food on the table. Anything really, that it's really struggling. So this is an opportunity for us to collect those funds to help people with toy hampers. So we do a lot of toy hampers and helping families with that. And then even throughout the year, it's not just at Christmas that we help people. All these funds, they help us then to do backpacks for kids or coats for kids or, you know, gas money if they need it for, you know, to go to a job interview or whatever it might be, that we can help people out with the funds that are raised through this. So it's a huge fundraiser, and it's something that we rely on then to be able to do what we do in our community throughout the year.
It must be pretty substantial to be able to not just meet the need that you're seeing in your community at Christmas time, but throughout the year, like you said. And I know, just to break it down a little bit, I know you touched on it. Obviously, a spirit of this is to support, you know, some of the lower income families. People are struggling in our community today. But like you were telling me before we went on the air, sometimes it's just, you know, you never know what's going to happen. And sometimes it's Christmas Eve and somebody's circumstance gets flipped upside down. Can you talk a little bit just about the emergency response, I guess, side of how you use the funds?
And I think that's the thing. A lot of people often think that we are just kind of helping the low-income families, and we are, and that is, you know, that's what we want to continue to do. But I would say that anybody who is shopping at a grocery store right now would appreciate that even with a working family, anybody who's, you know, just trying to make ends meet, they're living paycheck to paycheck, that if any emergency happens, if there's anything that happens in their life, all of a sudden they can't buy toys for their kids. They don't have the funds this year. And so we're available to help, you know, if somebody has some sort of emergency, a fire that might happen or anything, a breakup in a family, anything that could happen, we're available to be able to help them to have a Christmas so that those children can have a Christmas as well.
Can you say if maybe any of our viewers are watching this right now and they themselves are in a tough spot leading into Christmas, is there anything that, any place that they could be directed maybe to get more information about this? Yeah,
so we do have, we have two sort of different hampers. So the Salvation Army ourselves, we run the toy hampers. So any families that are needing toys for their children can come to the Salvation Army in Deer Lake and sign up for that. And then the churches in town created, I'm not sure how many years ago, but they created a Christian Aid Committee. And so they run the food hampers. And so you can, if you're needing help, then if you have a local church that you belong to, then you can go to that church and sign up for the food hamper. If you don't have a local church, then you can always come to the Salvation Army and we will help you out with the food hamper.
If we know of a family, or if you know of a family that does not want to contact the church, but you know that the need is there, I've personally have taken families and given the church their names and said,
Right.
like, please accept this help, because that's what it's there for. You collect it all locally and you spend it all locally for them, and that's who we want to help. So you can.
So really, people can reach out to kind of anybody. Like realistically, if somebody knows, if you know something, if you know a family in need, reach out to
Absolutely.
anybody
Yes.
involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've seen deaths, breakups, just disasters, anything.
Yeah.
So we've collected those names and we've brought them to Major Shannon.
Now, is it okay if I just call you Christmas Carol for the spirit of this episode?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me about a little bit more about how you got involved in the first place,
Sure.
and you know, why you were, I guess, reached out to, and then if you can let us know what people can expect at this year's event, and kind of what and when and where.
Yeah, sure. So one of the important points of clarification, I think, with this initiative is the localized component of it. So it really, the resources are meant to and are directed towards local families and local people. And I think that's something that the community people really get behind, because they know it's the people that they see all the time. And so Brian Snow, really, this was his heart. He was the piece of this that really got this going. And he needed a corporate buy-in in order for him to really get this off the ground.
Yeah.
And we had a personal relationship, and he knew that we always were heavily involved in community initiatives. And so he approached me, and as soon as he told me about his thought, his vision, right away I said, I want to be a part of that, because as a community person, I knew that the need was there, especially around Christmas time. We do something similar at our office as well in Goose Bay, where we partner with the Salvation Army. We do a similar initiative. And it does fill a big gap. One of the things that I love about the Santa Stroll and the resources is exactly what you touched on. This is meant to fill a need for people who kind of don't fall into any specific category.
Right.
There can be a level of anonymity there. People, neighbors who know a family is struggling, like, this is really what it's meant for. And so the day of, really, people can come out, they can bring their toys with them. They can drop them at the toy drive. There'll be a big box
So it's
there.
out in the parking lot of the Deer Lake Salvation Army?
At the Deer Lake Salvation Army, yes. So they can come and just drop off their toy. We're going to have coffee there by Grossmore Coffee Roasters. They've been a partner with us. They always come and provide the coffee. And so now we also have the carolers, so they can come spend some time there. And we've tried lots of different variations on this event. We've had bouncy castles, we've had the walk, we've had then the lunch, and I guess the thing is, everybody's busy this time of year. We want to include as many people as we possibly can. And so we want the event to be open for everybody. And if they want to come for 5 minutes, they can, and they don't have to commit the full afternoon if they don't want to.
Right. Just simplify things, clean it out, and change it up a little bit to make sure it's open, inclusive to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, people can drop by, have a coffee, spend some time listening to the carols, just drop off their toy if they want to. We also I do, and Amanda does, we solicit for donations leading up to, so we'll reach out to the business community. And I have to say, our communities have huge hearts for this.
Big time.
I approach business, corporate, yes, absolutely, we want to help out again this year. And other churches as well, they're on board. So we wouldn't be able to do this and raise the resources that we do if we really didn't have community people who believed in this and who were very generous this time of year. So we raise some corporate funds as well, and then it all just goes in the pot. And we fill a big need, and it's something that is a direct indication of how much people want to do and help out this time of year. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Well said. ladies, that's our 10 minutes gone just like that. I want to really thank you for coming down here to tell us about it, and hopefully next year we'll be back up there with you broadcasting this.
That'd be
Great.
That would be awesome.
And you can make donations. So if you can't make the event, you can go by Active Life Physiotherapy in Deer Lake, and they have a little prize for all donations that are given. You can come to Remax and drop off your donation, the Salvation Army, the Scotiabank in Deer Lake, and we will take those funds then to the event on December the 2nd. And we have the
credit
Facebook
union.
page and the credit union. And the credit union is going to be with us as well on the day of. But they can follow our Facebook page for ongoing events and prizes and baskets and things to win on that Santa Stroll Deer Lake.
Perfect. And we're going to take a quick break right now for a commercial, and we'll be back with Jeff Martin from College of North Atlantic to talk about their pantry program. Stay tuned. And we are back now with our guest in studio from the College of the North Atlantic here in Corner Brook, Mr. Jeff Martin. Jeff, thanks for coming down, man.
Thanks, Dustin, for having me. Really
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity to stop in.
Absolutely. You know, it's tis the season to talk about these sorts of things. But first, just because this is our, I'm pretty sure, inaugural Rogers TV interview
is,
together, and we've known each other for a few years, but you've had a few different roles now within the college, so maybe for our viewers at home, you can just touch on your history with the college.
Sure thing. So I've been with the college for 19 years, actually this fall, and I've been in a number of positions. I first started off as faculty in their outdoor recreation adventure tourism program.
Fun.
It was, absolutely. A lot of great memories and you know, a lot of great students as well. And then I moved into a program development position within student services. And a couple years ago, as right at the beginning of the pandemic, I stepped into this role as Director of Student Experience for the college.
Well, that must have been an interesting transition at the time that you made it. You know, I'm sure
It
students had lots of questions, and
Yeah,
that's probably an
absolutely.
important
We had to transition everything that we offered in terms of supports and services into something that can be done virtually, right?
thing. Oh my goodness.
Yes, and it was a quick turnaround, and you know, we have you know, gained a lot of lessons from that, and we've also kept on with some of those innovative programs that we started then to, you know, service all of our students.
Yeah, and I see now even like some of the new program offerings that have been coming up after COVID. Now they're still having these, you know, they're thinking ahead. They're being offered more virtually and things like that. So.
Absolutely, and that's one thing, you know, we've been, you know, really adaptable with, is being able to, you know, identify where there's needs for programs, but also, you know, the needs of our learners as well, right?
Yeah.
Because not everybody can, you know, attend in person from, you know, 8:30 to 4:30 on a Monday to Friday basis.
Right.
Right?
Some people have families. Some people are trying to, you know, get a higher education while also working.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, you're the exact right person to ask. Like, can you speak to the demographics, I guess, of like what you're seeing in terms of students? It seems to me that at CNA, it's really, you know, a very, very broad spectrum of the type of learners that you're dealing with.
It is, right? So our main, you know, age demographics in between about 18 and 24 years of age. So, you know, we can identify that a lot of those students have, you know, graduated, you know, high school and maybe taken some time off, and then, you know, decided on a career trajectory or career path.
Yeah.
And, you know, and beyond that, you know, we're starting to see, you know, more diverse students, like we just talked about the online student, right?
Yeah.
So many of them are already in careers looking to upgrade, right? So, you know, we've been able to offer, you know, some online programming that what we call as asynchronous, and you know, it's self-taught, but you know, you're still meeting those deadlines. And then we offer the synchronous ones where students are, you know, guided by a faculty member and have scheduled classes and so on.
Right. The asynchronous thing you mentioned, is that more of there's still, you know, guidelines and things, but is it just a more flexible, basically?
Absolutely,
or-
right? You're not being held to a class schedule, right?
Right.
So, you know, if you're coming home and you got a family, maybe, you know, you're spending time with the family, eating a meal together, and then, you know, if you've got young children like myself, you might put them to bed and then, you know, spend an hour or two on your studies online, right?
Cool. So you don't really have to compromise your career or your current employment now to be able to go and get, you know, to improve
exactly.
your skills.
Yep. Right.
And then how about like, you know, are there many like international students or even people from outside of Newfoundland in our area that end up enrolling?
Yes, actually, you know, this year we've seen like a 10% increase in our enrollment overall.
Wow.
And, you know, along with that, we've seen almost 100% increase in the number of international students that we have attending our colleges
Wow.
and programs. So right now we've got I'd say about a little more than 800 international students studying with us across the province.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's been fantastic to see because it allows for much more diversity in the classroom, and those sharing of experiences and cultures,
different perspectives.
Exactly, make us all more knowledgeable.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so, what do you think it is that about the programming at the college that sort of is being so attractive to people outside of Newfoundland and even outside of Canada?
Yeah. Well, Newfoundland's it's a beautiful spot to begin with, and Labrador as well, right? So people do come for the beauty of our province and our culture, and then we do have a very good price point for our tuition, right? Extreme value for what the tuition costs are at the college, right?
So great value, especially for somebody who's interested in like the outdoors and the types of things that Newfoundland has to offer in general.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that. And so somebody from the college reached out about the pantry program that you guys have, which sounded amazing. It sounds like a beautiful initiative to further support, the students. And my understanding is that it's a program you guys are putting together to, to raise donations of food and hygiene products and things like that. So can you just talk a little bit about how that, I guess, started out, and then what the, what the spirit of this program is?
For sure. So part of our student services, motto is we try to provide as many services and supports to our students, to allow them to be successful. And we started our pantry program back in January 2022. Where we saw a need due to the rising costs of everything, from groceries to gas to accommodations and utilities. And, we were under the mind frame that, students were having to choose, whether or not do I put gas in the car to come to class or do I buy a meal? Right? Yeah. And so this is where we decided to implement a pantry program at every one of our campuses. And it worked out really well at the time. We had some funding from CWIL, which is Co-op Education and Work Integrated Learning Canada, that allowed us to provide a stipend to some students who actually built all of our food pantries out of our Port aux Basques campus.
Cool.
So they got to have some real life work experience and to really dig in and hone their skills. And they built a number of pantries that we now have installed in all of our campuses across the province.
Wow.
So,
and where are they? So they're located physically now. They're like right in the sort of main entrances of campuses.
Well, we put them in a discrete location in the campus. We don't have anybody watching over them, so it's allow students to go in and grab a meal if they need one.
Okay, they can take care. So people can just and can you also drop off directly into that as well, or is that coordinated?
That's coordinated a little bit different. Our campuses do have a drop box, usually in their main office, where people can donate food items, hygiene items, as well as period product items.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so people, if you're, say, a viewer who wants to drop something off or contribute, they can just go into the school and speak to administration to be guided.
Exactly.
And then for the people who are at need, how do they end up finding out about like where it is and how they're meant to use it? And things like
absolutely.
That?
So every student that comes in into the college goes through an orientation to the college, and some of that involves a campus tour, and this is where they're pointed out. So. Right, students can access them discreetly without having any sort of stigma associated with it, right?
So even in September, when students are getting oriented, this is going to happen. You're introducing them to that concept even then.
Absolutely, right?
Cool. Yeah. And so, are there particular things that are like the most needed or the most beneficial now this time of year?
Well, right now, students are feeling the crunch. Well, everybody's feeling the crunch, right?
Things are pricey.
Exactly, right? So what we like to do is just basically try to have them stocked as often as possible with your basic food items, something that's going to be able to offer some nutritional value, as well as, something quick to eat. Right?
And like non-perishables?
Non-perishables, canned soups, canned pasta sauces, pastas, crackers, anything, peanut butter or anything like that.
Right on.
In addition, we do offer some of the diverse foods to meet some of the needs of our international students who might be accessing.
That's a good point because like we were just chatting about off camera, and maybe some people don't realize that when international students come here to study, you know, traveling back and forth to wherever you're from can be, you know, probably impossible and quite expensive. So I guess we end up with a number of international students who are here basically without family over the holiday season. And so I guess if people want to maybe donate in that specific area,
absolutely,
you know, you accept like all kinds of international flavors and
exactly. And we've got a great employee base at the college, as well. Oftentimes there's invites extended out to our international students to join for holiday meals and so on while they're here, so they're not left out and isolated. Right?
Is that something that the public could like? You know what I mean? If somebody reached out to you, who you maybe knew of and wasn't like a serial killer or something, and said, "Hey, I want to provide a meal to like a few students," is that something that could be arranged?
Absolutely, yeah. They can contact myself, right, for that, right, and maybe you have my contact information, right? So that'd be great, and it's lovely to see, because if you're traveling far from home and your family is a far distance away,
I can't imagine.
right? There's, they go through homesickness, and they also trying to acclimate to a new culture, new province, and so on. So, that's very generous of anybody that would like to do that. Right?
Awesome. We just got the light from our producer there, which means we got to wrap it up. But is there any final thing that you'd like to say to the viewers of Western Newfoundland at how they could contribute to the pantry program this year?
Absolutely. So. Today is Giving Tuesday, November 28th, and if you're unable to stop by one of our campuses, we do have a Give to CNA link on our website, and then there you can choose your area of where you want your funds to go. There's food pantries, there's student emergency fund, there's the period project, everything to. That will go a long way to help our students and staff at the college.
And that's cna.com?
cna.nl.ca.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Jeff, thanks so much, man, for coming down. And anytime you have anything on the go like this at the college, please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
No sweat. And that was Jeff Martin. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with you to close out this episode. Stay tuned. And that's it for this week's episode of West Talk. And just one final note from myself and all of us here at Rogers. We know that Christmas, as wonderful and magical as it is, can be really challenging for people all over our community for a lot of different reasons. For some, it's the happiest time of year, and for some, it's the saddest time of year. And so just know that we're thinking about all of you, and we're all here for you. And if there's anything any of you need, please reach out to us or any of the people that we've showcased on today's episode, because these are people in the community who are here to help. And so a special thank you to Carol Anstey, to Major Shannon from Deer Lake Salvation Army, and Amanda Freake from the town of Deer Lake and Scotiabank, as well as to Jeff Martin from the College of North Atlantic. That's it for this week. We'll be back next week with another probably Christmassy episode of West Talk. Have a great night.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
I did it. I need it.
The hero gave it.
And I am alive.
As an organ donor, you can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 75 others. Please go to our website. Pledge a gift of life. You'll be glad you did.
You wanted the best! You got the best! The hottest band in the world! Kiss!
On December 2nd, live from Madison Square Garden, Kiss will perform in concert for the final time ever. And you can experience it live on pay-per-view. Kiss, End of the Road, December 2nd, live on pay-per-view. Order now.
Midnight!
This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because